summer is heating up with Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four.
Line them up, Johnny!
On July 25th.
Time to save the planet.
What's the plan?
Trust me. I hate that
It's a
plan.
bad plan. Come on.
Terrible
That's a
idea.
stupid plan.
Prepare for fantastic.
We will face this together as a family.
Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four. First steps. Only in theaters July 25th. Rated PG-13. Some material may be inappropriate for children under 13. Get tickets now.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it. Guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
The #1 selling product of its kind with over 20 years of research and innovation. Botox Cosmetic, onabotulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
EVO. This series contains adult language and depictions of graphic violence. Listener discretion is advised. Bologna, 1523, a city of universities and secrets, of red brick and bloodlines. By day, it was a city of intellect, home to scholars, surgeons, and scribes. By night, it whispered other truths, of rituals under moonlight, of vows not made in churches. And in that year, beneath painted ceilings and behind velvet drapes, the Malvezzi family prepared for a wedding meant to forge power. But what they forged instead was a legend, one still spoken of in hushed tones, a story not of love, but of hunger. Welcome back to The Devil Within European Vacation. You're listening to Blood in the Olive Grove, Part 4. This is Chapter 1, The Wolf Bride of Bologna. Lucia Malvezzi, the only daughter of Count Lorenzo Malvezzi, was 17. Renowned for her beauty and her intellect, she spoke 4 languages and debated theology with the Jesuits. But she also roamed the gardens alone, collected animal bones in secret, and never wore a cross. When news of her engagement to Lorenzo della Scala, a Florentine heir of considerable fortune, was announced, Bologna celebrated. But Lucia did not. She grew pale, withdrawn. Maids found her standing barefoot in the garden at sunrise, murmuring to the wind. She refused bread. She slept during the day. Her dressmaker reported her skin ran cold, her pupils dilated. Her mother insisted Lucia smelled of fur. And in her journal, a single line repeated, "I can feel the moon inside me." The evening before the wedding, the villa was heavy with perfume and expectation. Guests from Florence and Milan arrived by carriage. Courtiers rehearsed toasts. Musicians tuned their lutes. Lucia retired to her chamber. Her gown was pressed, her shoes set neatly by the bed. At midnight, the servants heard a growl. Not from the stables, from within. The door to her chamber was locked from the inside. Her bed, when broken down, was splintered. The walls gouged, and the window was still closed. The priests who had arrived to perform the sacrament entered the chapel the next morning to find claw marks on the altar. The groom, proud and unshaken, demanded the ceremony proceed. At sunset, Lucia returned, dressed in white, her veil trailing, eyes gold, smile wide. The wedding feast took place in the great hall beneath banners of crimson and gold. Roast boar, spiced wine, the music swelled. Lucia sat beside her groom. She whispered something in his ear. He laughed, and then she lunged. She tore into his throat with such speed, the musicians played 3 more notes before they noticed the screaming. Witnesses claimed her limbs cracked backward and her jaw unhinged, her nails extended into claws. She climbed the walls and she killed 5 people. When the guards arrived, she was gone. Only her veil remained, resting on the chair. It was soaked through and warm with blood. Count Malvezzi summoned mercenaries from Parma, men known for their cruelty. They combed the hills, they questioned villagers, dismembered wolves for clues. They found bodies. 1 deer torn open from groin to jaw. Several sheep untouched but surrounded by scorched grass. And 1 hunter, half-eaten, grinning, eyes wide. The local friars warned them to leave, that it was not heresy they were chasing, but curse. Lucia was seen once more. A washerwoman swore she glimpsed her at dusk, near the San Luca hills, her wedding dress in tatters, but her face unchanged. Well, except for her teeth. The Malvezzi family never spoke her name again. Her portraits were burned, her betrothal erased from record. But Bologna remembered. Every 100 years, on the anniversary of the feast, a red veil is found tied to the gates of San Domenico. Always red, always wet. Brides in Bologna to this day place a sprig of wolfsbane in their bouquets. Some say it keeps her away, but others believe that it summons her. And if you wander the alleys of the old quarter during a storm, you might hear her footsteps, light, barefoot, trailing water. And if you see her, mouth ajar, eyes gold, arms wide open, run. Don't answer, don't smile back, because the wolf bride is still looking for a groom. Chapter 2. The Cult of the Crimson Wolf. The Italian Alps, border country, harsh, isolated, and unforgiving, a range where silence stretches for miles and winter lingers long after the promise of spring. For centuries, these heights harbored outcasts and zealots, mystics and fugitives, a crucible of stone and snow, the perfect place to hide a secret or to worship one. From the 1400s to the early 1900s, whispers spread from hut to village, stories of the Lupi Cremisi, the Crimson Wolves. They weren't just beasts, locals said. They were men. But more than men, shapeshifters, drinkers of memory, feeders of ancestral hunger. In one remote valley, half lost to time, there still stands a chapel. And if you find it, should you survive the climb, you'll see the truth for yourself. Walls lined not with prayer, but with teeth. In 1627, a Venetian cartographer named Matteo Vespucci was sent to chart the Valtellina Valley. He wrote extensively of its twisting passes and echoing ravines, but one day, his sketches stopped, his ink dried, and he disappeared. 3 weeks later, hunters found him curled up in a cave, blind, his mouth stuffed with fur. His eyes had been burned out with an herbal resin known to cause permanent blindness. Beside him was a crude altar, carved bone, charred black. At its center, a symbol burned into the rock, a crimson wolf howling at a split moon. This symbol would reappear again, in blood, in ash, and in dreams. In 1754, the noble family of Count Bellini de Modena arranged a marriage. Their son, Elio, was to wed a girl from the mountains. Her name was Silvana. She bore a red crescent-shaped birthmark across her spine, and she spoke 5 dialects, but refused to say where she was born. The wedding was held on the summer solstice. By dawn, 12 guests were dead, torn apart, their blood smeared in symbols across the banquet hall. Silvana was found standing among the bodies, her white gown soaked red, her face serene. Her hands, they said, had claws. Her teeth were wrong. The Bellini family struck her name from all records, but her descendants, the people of the hills, still offer a cup of wine and a bone at her resting place each summer, not to mourn, to honor.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Got a car to sell but no time to waste? Hop on to Carvana.com to get a real offer for your car in seconds. All you have to do is enter your license plate, answer a few quick questions, and if you accept the offer, Carvana will pay you as soon as you hand the keys over. They even offer same-day pickup in many cities. Save your time, score some cash, and sell your car the convenient way to Carvana. Pickup times vary. Fees may apply.
Comcast is committed to bringing access to the internet to all Americans, including rural communities across the country, like Sussex County, Delaware.
We were being left behind. Everybody around us seemed to have internet, but we did not. High-speed internet is one of those good things that we needed to help us move our farming, our small businesses, our recreation forward.
Learn more about how we're bringing our next-generation network to more people across the country at ComcastCorporation.com/investment in America.
Shopping is hard.
I can never find anything in my size.
I don't even know my size.
I buy my clothes the same place I buy my groceries.
There's a better way. Make it easy with Stitch Fix. Just share your size, style, budget, and done. Your personal stylist sends pieces picked just for you.
That was easy.
Stitch Fix. Online personal styling for everyone. Free shipping and returns. No subscription required. Get started today at StitchFix.com.
Your burger is served, and this is our finest Pepsi Zero Sugar. Its sweet profile perfectly balances the savory notes of your burger.
That is one perfect combination. Burgers deserve Pepsi.
Locals speak of solstice rites, nights when fire burned without smoke and shadows stood against the wind. Twice a year, drumming echoed through the pines. Travelers swore they saw bonfires arranged in spirals, hoofprints in fresh snow leading to nowhere. In 1891, a missionary named Father Gallo recorded in his journal the following: I witnessed them, men and women in blood-painted masks, chanting to the mountain. They didn't ask for mercy. They only offered hunger. They said, we guard the old blood, and when it wakes, we shall feed again. A lamb was on his doorstep the next morning. It blinked. Its eyes seemed unmistakably human. World War II brought new seekers to the Alps. Among them, Unit Anna Nerby, the occult branch of the SS. They believed in ancient power and in bloodlines older than the Reich. In early 1944, they sent a team into the Valtellina region, guided by a defector who claimed to have seen the crimson symbol in a fevered vision. Only one soldier returned, and he was mad. His ears frostbitten, his hands bandaged. He babbled in broken Latin and drew wolves in the air with trembling fingers. Then he gouged out his own eyes with a rusted spoon. His final words were scrawled in blood on the walls of his cell. The wolf god is real, and it wears our skin. In 2013, hikers from Milan reported finding an abandoned chapel hidden above the snowline, reachable only by climbing an ancient, crumbling goat path. Inside, they found robes, bones, and a cracked mirror that reflected nothing but shadow. And the walls lined with teeth, not canine, human, each one carved with a symbol. Some appeared to be still bleeding. The hikers photographed everything, and within 3 days, an avalanche buried the site. And the photos were wiped from the cloud. But something surfaced instead. A symbol, online, in forums, in deep code. The Crimson Wolf, reborn in pixels. And recruiting. Have you ever seen your own teeth in a dream laid out on an altar? Email us at info@evocreative.com and follow The Devil Within Pod on Instagram. And leave a review, especially if you've ever howled without moving your lips. Chapter 3. The Silence Beneath Siena. Siena, a jewel of Tuscany, famed for its art, its palio horse race, and its cathedral. Visitors stand awestruck beneath the black and white marble arches, the golden dome, the intricate mosaics that dance in the candlelight. But few know what lies beneath. Beneath the Duomo's reverent splendor, buried under centuries of incense and prayers, is a secret chamber, a room forgotten by time, sealed not once, but 3 times. And in 1972, it was opened. The first whisper of the chamber began in the year 1456. It was winter when the entire boys' choir of the Siena Cathedral vanished. 32 voices gone. Not a footprint, not a note. Only their songbook was left behind, resting atop the pulpit. The final hymn they had sung was unlike anything preserved in the archives, a melody that rose in dissonant thirds, its Latin lyrics unfamiliar. The last line read, "To the beast we lend our breath." The choir master fell mute. The bishop ordered the crypt sealed, behind bricks, then behind lead, and finally behind prayers. They swore to never speak of it again, and for centuries, the seal held. Until a renovation crew, tasked with electrical wiring, knocked through the wall. Behind the wall was a narrow stairwell, tight, spiraling, descending far deeper than any foundation should go. The stone was smooth, worn by centuries, and the air turned cold and dry the further you walked. At the bottom, a door, cedar, ancient. When pried open, it revealed a chamber, circular, acoustically perfect. The air within oddly still. No dust, no cobwebs, as though the room had been waiting. At the center, a basin of blood-stained marble. Around it, etched into the walls, were names. Hundreds of names, some written in Latin, others in Etruscan, some in a script that's never been identified. One name was still warm to the touch. Among the crew was a sound engineer named Enzo Pirelli. A skeptic by nature, he wanted to test the room's acoustics. He brought in a reel-to-reel recorder and left it running for 24 hours. What he returned to wasn't silence, but the absence of sound, a perfect void, actually an impossibility. But beneath that void was a frequency, barely audible, like a breath underwater. Dogs in the village howled for hours, wine glasses shattered in the locked cabinets, and Enzo, he disappeared a week later. Only his ears were found, left on the doorstep of the baptistry, wrapped in vellum, and written upon it a single phrase: "You heard what was never meant to be heard." The songbook the boys had left behind eventually made its way to Dr. Paolo Foscari, a scholar of medieval music and forgotten tongues. He devoted his life to decoding the hymn. He claimed the notes followed a scale never used in Western music, a scale with microtones that mimicked breath. Inhale, exhale, scream. He also uncovered translations of the hymn. It spoke of a voice beneath voices, a presence that was once a god, then a beast, then a silence. It said, "Sing not to be heard, sing to be opened." Dr. Foscari attempted to recreate the melody on a clavichord. He died that night. Asphyxiation, though a doctor could find no obstruction. His final note read, "I heard myself sing it in a voice I didn't know." The Siena Cathedral officially denies the chamber's existence. There is no blueprints, no record of a crypt sealed 3 times. But pilgrims still visit the cathedral and linger near a certain shadowed alcove. They leave offerings, wax wolves, silver coins, and silent prayers. Locals report hearing breathing near that alcove. Long, slow, hungry breaths, never in rhythm, never matching their own. In 2017, a tourist disappeared during a midnight tour. His phone was found on the cathedral floor, still recording. The audio? A boy's choir, humming a single, impossible note. But no one had sung in the cathedral that night. Because beneath Siena, beneath the mosaic of saints in the weight of marble, something waits. It doesn't hunger for flesh. It hungers for breath. Thanks for listening to The Devil Within. This has been European Vacation. Hope you enjoyed the series, and I hope that your summer was as enjoyable as mine. If you're a fan of the show, email us at info@evocreative.com and follow us at The Devil Within Pod on Instagram, and leave a review, especially if your dreams end in hymns that you've never learned. The Devil Within is an EVO production, recorded live at Bel Air Studios in Los Angeles, California. For The Devil Within, I'm Brandon Morgan, your writer and host.